Hello, brother.
Good to see you.
It's good to be here. You've been better.
You've been better?
Yeah. I miss everyone.
He's in Sedona. Sorry, well, congratulations. Oh, yeah, sure.
And what I want to do is stick on that. Isn't that the way it usually goes?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Call this meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the first order of business, asked to approve the minutes of September 3rd, 2019.
I make the motion to approve the minutes from September 3rd, 2019 as submitted.
I'll second the motion. Any comment? Okay, next order of business will be... Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's your job now. Next order of business is the police report.
Yes, Chief Swittinger could not attend the meeting tonight, but the August 2019 monthly report is available for review and will be on the township website under the police page for review. Just for a few items, the Regional Automated Property Information Database, that was the training completed. There were 195 calls for service, 11 crimes investigated, 3 arrests, 49 traffic stops, and 11 accidents investigated for the month of August.
Next is the bills list.
I make the motion to approve the bills list dated September 16th, 2019 in the total amount of $120,342.34.
I'll second the motion. Any public comment? Brian?
I'll let George go, or
Art.
Art go first.
I have one question for you. Under signal services, now these are reimbursables, I assume, there's 3 traffic light repairs there for $1,382. Were they all the same traffic lights, or different ones, or where were they?
Actually, the invoices are for some timing configuration issues with the light at 100 and 401. We are going to talk with the Hankin Group about them, considering the improvements there and some of the issues in coordination. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then they all belong to the Hankin? or-
That's what we're working on, yeah.
All right.
There'll be a reimbursable, yeah, through them, let's hope.
Brian?
Okay, on this one, there's a Bunnell Industries and a tool for grader, and I did ask Erica, she gave me some answers on it. And one thing I thought was for dirt roads, and she said it's for paved roads that we're doing prep for paving. How does it work? What does it do? Can you give me a clue?
Imagine an extension of a piece of equipment that will help push the dirt on the sides of the paved roads and allow for kind of digging through and extending that shoulder width for the road. That's really what the widener is. So, yeah, so
So
we're using it
it
now.
goes on the end of the existing grader blade.
Right, oh, on
And
the
it-
side, yes.
And then it kind of sticks down a little bit lower so you
Yeah,
can go on the paving part without digging it up.
Right, yeah.
And digging up the slope part.
right.
Got it. And the second one is, there's a thing from Knox Equipment that we got a drill bit-based rental, and you did explain what it is that we're basically, we bored holes into to the bottom of the, I don't say the pit out there.
Right.
And lower, it flows up, I just take it to that pit, I think goes into the pond somehow. And so what we're trying to do is lower the water table level underneath the parking lot, so we'll have less problems with freezing, thawing, breaking up paving when we eventually get to paving.
Correct.
Okay, we've also got fresh paving out there tonight. What did we do?
I think that's covering the work that was done today. So I haven't been out, so I need to check that out. There was work being done this morning.
Do you know what they did?
Put in the pipe, the under drain, and then put asphalt on top.
Okay, so in other words, we're kind of draining from that area which is tended to develop wetness when it rains.
Correct, yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else for the bills list? Seeing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next is the treasurer's report.
Thank you. We have for the month of July, all the finance reports are available. We have the treasurer's report giving an overview of where we stand for the end of July. Now, at the next meeting, we'll have August together. Right now, as far as our comparison for July of this year versus July of last year, we're trending fine as far as our tax receipts. The building department, what we budgeted this year was a little less with residential. We're certainly seeing that with our receipts for the month. All revenue for the year is still on target in general. On our expenses, we are under expenditures versus July of last year, but then again, it's variable considering what projects we're taking on. But that information is presented for you as a comparison and review of where we stand for the year. And you'll note that the expenses, look down at the sewer sale. We had, if you see here in the open space fund, the acquisition of our 72 acres at Bryn Coed took place last year, so you see that. And then on the second page, we have all of our fund balances, which total to $11,529,507.35. And on our last page, just to give the actual budget this is really the performance of our budget to date. And it gives the measure of where we stand as far as the budgeted amounts, whether we're over, under for the year. As far as the general fund is concerned, we do have a number of projects in the mix that we'll have expenditures on. Same with obviously the capital fund. The open space fund, you'll note, like I said, with Bryn Coed, we'll be getting our bids back October 7th on the Bryn Coed demolition. And we'll just keep track of the EIT monies being received. Liquid fuels fund will be expended shortly when we get invoiced from our road program. And then the sewer fund, it'll note that it is behind. That is due to we need to bill and then collect on that. And then that'll come back for the next few months. So that is the report for July.
Thank you.
Sure.
Let's see, next on the list is U.S. Representative Chrissy Houlihan Citizen Outreach Presentation.
Mrs. Curtis?
Yes.
Hi, Curtis, how are you?
Yes,
Mary, nice to meet you too. You'd like to take the microphone?
Is here good or over there?
This is fine, yes, thank you.
Well, thank you for having me, everyone. My name is Curtis Miller. I am a constituent advocate for Representative Chrissy Houlihan in Westchester. So after the most recent redistricting in the U.S. House, Chrissy is the 6th district's representative, and that's all of Chester and the southern portion of Berks counties. So we're in Chester right now. So she has 2 district offices and obviously her office in DC. The Westchester district office would likely be closest for all of you, so that's at 709 East Gay Street. These pamphlets have all the information I'll be talking about, and I'll be leaving them. And then we also have the one in Reading, which is in City Hall in Reading on Washington Street. So Chrissy cares very much about the district and wants to drive all the legislation that she's doing in DC from the district and what the district wants. So we're going around to all the township, borough, and city council meetings in the district to talk about the resources that her offices provide, what we can do for constituents, and also give our contact information so if you have any questions you can reach out to us. So We've had the 2 district offices opened, and through all of the work that Chrissy and the district staff have been doing, we have closed about 400,000 cases for constituents ranging among many different issues surrounding federal agencies. And through all those cases, we've been able to return $800,000 to the district, whether that's helping a constituent gain access to their tax return, Medicare or Social Security benefits, their Veterans Affairs benefits, pretty much anything with a federal agency we've been able to help them with. Aside from dollars, we're able to help with passports, USCIS cases, housing urban development cases, and in addition to casework where we're formally advocating with a federal agency, we're also able to write support letters for grant applications if there's a federal agency providing a grant. So I don't know if you're looking at any development projects that you're applying for federal grants, but we're able to help with that. And we've had successes in that. We were able to see a constituent organization gain $2.9 million through a support letter with help from a support letter we wrote. And then just today, I remember that we were able to help a constituent organization get $300,000 in grant money as well. So that's all the stuff we've been doing in the district formally. We've also, in Kennett Square, we held a roundtable with Secretary Sonny Perdue of the USDA, Cheryl Cook from the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, and a lot of constituents who represent the mushroom industry, the dairy industry, and the beef industry to talk about every issue in agriculture, but we talked a lot about labor and the unique concerns that mushroom and dairy farmers have in year-round production, and how Chrissy as a federal representative can help with that. She convened a roundtable with Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro to talk about the opioid crisis. And we're looking at having more conversations with dairy farmers and as many constituent organizations as we can regarding a bunch of different topics. We've had 10 town halls now. So the most recent one was yesterday, in Reading. We talked about infrastructure following a press release that we had at Reading Area Community College to bring attention to the kind of decrepit state of America's infrastructure, and Chrissy calling for a reinvestment in infrastructure. Before that, we had a town hall in Westchester at a church on St. Haggerty Boulevard to talk about healthcare. That was our most well-attended town hall to date. We had over 400 people there. Before that, we've had one talking about the environment, education. We'll have another one in October to talk about technology and manufacturing. So stay tuned for that. You can keep up to date with us on our website, which all of our contact information and the website is on here. And you can subscribe to our newsletter on the website. So that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions that I didn't cover, or how we can help right now?
I just wanted to say I heard Chrissy speak last night. I'm so glad she's representing us.
That's great to hear. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anywhere good that I could leave these?
Sure.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me, everyone.
Next on the agenda is subdivision land development for 1414 Bertrand Road, subdivision extension request.
I make the motion to approve the subdivision extension request for 1414 Bertrand Road for 60 days to expire on November 14th.
Is this the 12, or is this for?
This is the
No,
original.
this is for the 12 lot
For the 12 lot.
subdivision. This is not the new subdivision. I'll give you a little background. The applicant is Harry Price. He's here this evening. Thanks for joining us. He had provided a little update and a letter to the board based on the subdivision at 1414 Birch Run Road, the Neff property, formerly also the Aldridge subdivision.
Old Ridge Farm.
Old Ridge Farm, okay, thank you. And in 1989, that was approved, and for past many years, we've had 5-year extension requests until last year. And in September of last year, it was a 1-year extension. At that time, we did include a copy of minutes with some comments based on the review by the Board of Supervisors at that time. There is before us this evening this request to keep the subdivision active for another full year. And so Mr. Price is here this evening to discuss the status of that. What we also have right now that has been acknowledged and in process is for the same property, a different subdivision, taking the 40-acre parcel and putting that into actually 2 lots of 20 acres. Roughly, okay. So that needs to go to, what is scheduled to go to the Planning Commission this Thursday for review. Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Chris?
No, we're hoping to get the 2-lot subdivision at this
Okay.
point, but we would like to have our options open if that doesn't happen. And that's kind of why we went with the extension. This process started in in February, and it's just taken forever at this point. I fully had expected it to be done and over with a couple months ago. It hasn't happened, so I just want to, I'm trying to end up with something. I want to just make sure that I either have an option for the 12-lot subdivision or, I'll get approval on the 2 lots. So that's kind of where we are at this point.
I'm not going to vote on, I'm not going to second this motion. I'd like to table it till Mike gets back and then we can discuss it further.
Okay. It's coming up on Planning Commission on Thursday this week,
Well-
so.
I'm sorry, it does expire
That's the 12 lot.
here.
The 12.
Right, yes, the 12 lot on the 21st. So, right, okay.
Okay.
Is there a motion to deny the request then?
I think we'll just leave it as it is. I mean, is there what's the ultimate difference? There is none,
If you're
right?
not going to second a motion to deny, then nothing happens.
Nothing happens, okay. Sarah?
Does nothing happens mean it expires on the 21st?
Right, it's been dragging on for decades.
I understand, I remember the planning commission recommended no further extensions, so that's effectively what you're doing. Okay. Thank you.
Understand what that means. It doesn't mean the subdivision approval goes away. It only means that the subdivision is subject to ordinances that have been passed since its approval date. Doesn't mean the subdivision approval goes away.
Okay.
But
As
if-
opposed to its passage date of the approval date of the subdivision. Right, the difference is.
Normally you get 5 years from the preliminary plan approval to protect you against ordinances passed that are adverse to your plan. He's been extending that. So by not extending that, you're taking away that protection. You would have to then comply with all the ordinances that have been passed.
That's right.
Which essentially is sending it back to the drawing board.
I don't know. I don't know the impact of the ordinances
Okay,
that
I'm
have been
just,
passed, but technically it's
I just
not,
wanna
it's not doing
under-
away with the approval.
understand. Okay, thank you.
Brian?
If I understand that right, the 12-lot subdivision still exists, but then it would have to meet the current ordinance requirements. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And if
You want to
the-
come up to the speaker, or the microphone, and announce your name, please?
And if the 2-lot subdivision is approved, then we would relinquish any right to the 12-lot subdivision. So we'll just end up seeing in the next, couple of weeks where we end up with that. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
You had your hand?
My question was just about
Want to come up to
access.
the microphone, please?
Oh, I'm scared.
You could use this one.
My question was just about access. So would the 2 parcels or the 12 parcels, is access off of Janey or Birch Run?
It's off of Birch Run.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? Okay, so we'll move on. Old business, public hearing, the adoption of the Phoenixville Regional Comprehensive Plan for 2019.
At this time, I'll open the hearing and introduce the following board exhibits. Board Exhibit 1 is a letter to the Mercury dated August 12, 2019. Board Exhibit 2 is a proof of publication for August 26, 2019 and September 2nd, 2019. Board Exhibit 3 is a letter to the Chester County Planning Commission, contiguous municipalities, and the OJR School District dated April 25th, 2019. Board Exhibit 4 is the resolution itself. Board Exhibit 5 is the legal notice. Board Exhibit 6 is the Chester County Planning Commission review correspondence dated June 7, 2019. Board Exhibit 7 is the Phoenixville review correspondence dated May 28, 2019. Board Exhibit 8 is the Charleston Township review correspondence dated May 8th and May 22nd, 2019. Board Exhibit 9 is the Upper Euclid Township review correspondence dated June 10th, 2019. And with that, we'll admit those exhibits into the record. I believe we have a planner present who want to give a real brief summary of what we're doing tonight. Sure.
I'm Ed Thurkoff. Some of you know me as the planning consultant to the Phoenixville Regional Planning Committee, which includes West Vincent, Charlestown, East Pikeland, Schuylkill, and the borough of Phoenixville. These municipalities got together in the early 2000s to focus on issues region-wide to promote the protection of natural resources and rural areas, and also to assist with the revitalization of Phoenixville and some of the other targeted areas throughout the region. We began the comprehensive planning process in January of 2017, spent about 6 or 8 months developing the broad vision and goals of the comprehensive plan, and then we began work on the various comprehensive plan elements. These range from land use, environmental protection, there's an energy plan, there's a plan for historic and cultural resource preservation, there's a plan for transportation that overlaps with the county transportation plan also serving the region, and there's a few other elements. As you gather, the comprehensive plan is meant to be a broad policy document that undergirds subsequent policies and ordinances to be enacted by the member municipalities. So it is valuable in that regard. To this point, 4 of the 5 member municipalities have held hearings and all have voted to adopt the updated comprehensive plan, and now we stand before you to request your favorable action as well.
Does the board have any questions?
None?
So audience have any questions or public comments? Go ahead.
Brian?
It was just said that this is to undergird the policies and procedures of the various townships. And the question I have is, if you're going to have something to undergird it and support it, you've got a basis, you've got something you're referring to of how you came to those bases or conclusions. And I can't find that anywhere in the document. Is there some reason for that?
Sir? Any answer to that?
Would you ask the question? I got distracted there. Just the last part of it. Undergirding the ordinance and then the question.
There's no references for the basis for the statements made in the document.
I did see your letter today that was drafted yesterday. And I did review some of the specific comments. There are 1 or 2 statements in there that don't have the proper citation. When I reviewed, it was very easy to find the source of the statement. We didn't make it up in our office, and nor did the member representatives of the committee make it up. So I regret that one or two things may have been omitted in the draft. That said, the letter that you produced focused on two elements of a rather voluminous comprehensive plan, and that being the Energy and Sustainability Plan, the first draft of which was made public in November of 2017, and the Community Facilities Plan, the first draft of which was made public February of 2018. We then had a public workshop, well advertised, to which everyone was invited, that discussed all the policy elements of the plan. That was August 29th of last year. We presented the policy elements to your planning commission here in West Vincent Township on September 20th of last year. And then had another public workshop on February 27th of this year to review the entire contents of the comprehensive plan. There was a mandated Act 247 review and comment period extending from April 25th of this year to June 10th of this year. And after that period ended, we continued to entertain comments and suggestions, producing our final draft for adoption hearings on July 24th. I would suggest that after all this time for public review passed, to receive a letter dated yesterday is a little late in the game. That's the bad news. The good news is, hopefully we have a new member joining our regional planning group, and we will have the chance to address the issues in this letter and any others that come up. So that's kind of my response.
Okay. You made a comment about the public meetings concerning it, and I attended a number of those public meetings. And one thing that I noticed about those meetings is they were scripted towards a distinct end and really weren't looking for contrary information or addressing those issues. And I'll say that, it didn't give me a real good taste in my mouth. I finally looked at some of this stuff, and as I noted in the letter, there's stuff in there that it's just flat, in my opinion and my knowledge, wrong. And one particular area that maybe you can address is that you say that, if you have a wind installation that has a long period of rate of return, how long did your calculations come up with being the rate of return or return on investment for a wind installation?
I don't know the exact rate of return on a wind installation, but I do know that in this area, solar returns your investment much more quickly. That's why it's a more popular choice around this area. Although there are some individuals that do put wind facilities up.
Okay.
So what we've done is advocated increased use of sustainable energy production where it can be applied. And this is a policy embraced by the members of the committee.
I'm going to close with this. You said there's another review coming with West Pike. And by the way, have they been adopted, or are they part of the PRPC now?
Not yet.
It's actually another item on the agenda later.
Okay. Hopefully some of those issues will be addressed in the review when they become part of it. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Ed, what's the optimistic timeframe for the West Pikeland, if everything goes optimistically for West Pikeland, the next?
To produce,
Do you mean to revise the plan?
Well, ultimately, that's what we're talking about.
yeah, I think, I'm going off the top of my head, but I think we figured about 14 months.
Yes, so there's a range, I mean, depending.
So
if
we have to go through all the elements that we do for this, but it'll be a lot shorter because we're really folding a new municipality into
So it'll be the Delta.
policies that have already been
Mhm.
developed.
Okay, so next year or so.
Anyone from the public have any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close the hearing at this time and reconvene into the public meeting portion of the agenda where you can take action on this matter.
Next on the agenda is the approval of resolution number 16-2019, adoption of the Phoenixville Regional Comprehensive Plan for 2019.
I will make the motion to approve resolution 16-2019, adoption of Phoenixville Regional Comprehensive Plan for 2019.
And I'll second the motion. Again, any comment? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Thank you.
I know there's been a ton of work. I'll leave it at that. So thank you for coming in tonight.
It was a pleasure.
Very good. Next on the agenda is the public hearing approval for the application for Christopher and Christine McGowan, 2127 Flowing Springs Road, for the addition of the 13.6 acres to the West Vincent Township Agricultural Security Area.
At this time, I'll open the hearing, introduce the following exhibits. Board Exhibit 1 is a cover letter and application from Mr. and Mrs. McGowan, dated May 14, 2019. Board Exhibit 2 is a public notice of proposal. Board Exhibit 3 is a proof of publication of public notice of proposal dated June 18, 2019. Board Exhibit 4 is the affidavit of posting of public notice of proposal dated June 17, 2019. Board Exhibit 5 is the legal notice. Board Exhibit 6 is the letter to the Mercury dated August 15, 2019. Board Exhibit 7 is a proof of publication of legal notice for August 26, 2019 and September 2nd, 2019. Board Exhibit 8 is the affidavit of posting of legal notice dated August 19, 2019. Board Exhibit 9 is the Township Agricultural Security Meeting Minutes recommending approval dated July 30th, 2019. Board Exhibit 10 is the Township Plan Commission meeting minutes recommending approval dated July 18, 2019. Board Exhibit 11 is the resolution itself, and we will incorporate Board Exhibit 1 through 11 into the record. Is the applicant here?
Yeah.
Please come up. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Your name and address?
Christopher McGowan, 2127 Flowing Springs Road, Chester Springs, PA 19425.
And do you own the subject property?
Yes.
And the size of your property is 13.6 acres?
Yes.
Does the property have soils that are conducive to agriculture and is comprised of viable agricultural land?
Yes.
As the county and township committees have concluded the operation of the property is consistent with the township comprehensive plan and Chester County comprehensive plan, do you agree with the addition of your property is consistent with these plans?
I do.
Do you have anything else to add?
I do not.
Does the board have any questions?
Nope.
The audience have any questions and/or public comment? Hearing and seeing none, we'll conclude the hearing and go reconvene into the public meeting portion of the agenda. This matter is now available for your consideration.
Okay, next on the agenda, number 9, approval of resolution number 17-2019, adopting addition to the West Vincent Township Agricultural Security Area of 2127 Flowing Springs Road in Perens, McGowan.
I make the motion to approve resolution number 17-2019, adopting addition to the West Vincent Agricultural Security Area of 2127 Flowing Springs Road, McGowan.
I'll second that motion. Motion second. Anybody comment from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Easy.
Okay. Next on the list is new business. Phoenixville Regional Comprehensive Plan Committee request for a letter of support for West Pikeland Township application for Chester County Vision Partnership Grant.
Oh, sorry. I was waiting for Erica to tell us what it was about. but-
Oh, I can do that, sure.
Do I make the motion first?
All right.
Either way.
Go ahead.
I make the motion that we authorize the township manager to sign the letter of support for West Pikeland Township's application for Chester County Vision Partnership Grant.
I'll second the motion. Erica?
Okay, very good. As referenced a little earlier, West Pikeland Township has indicated they're interested in joining the Phoenixville Regional Comprehensive Steering Committee itself. And to do that, since we just had now adopted our comprehensive plan, that plan would need to be amended. And I know that that takes some funding. So the Vision Partnership Program grant, the application here, it's the total project cost is $33,300. The grant request is 70% of that, $23,310. The municipal match is $9,990. West Vincent would be committing $1,665 to that overall project cost. So that is before us this evening. They'll apply, we'll have to hear about it, in the next few months and go through that process if we choose to do that.
Thank you. Any comment from the audience? Brian?
What is the vision, don't step on it. What is the vision grant supposed to accomplish?
The Vision Grant is, it's actually a really nice grant opportunity through the county for planning assistance for municipalities, nonprofits, that sort of thing. And actually, the entire comprehensive plan effort was funded through a Vision Partnership Program grant.
So what are we going to be, or are they going to be planning about then?
The region, and, well, you mean as far as this grant itself? This effort would be all of Ed Thurkoff's work and project assistance to work with West Pikeland Township and go through that very similar process of planning, opening up the plan and incorporating that feedback into that new plan, looking at those goals and objectives through that lens.
Okay, so in other words, this is a grant to pay for the modifications to in the process of being
Right.
adopted comprehensive plan. Got it, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else? Entertain. All those in favor, yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Next is award the bid for snow and ice removal.
I make the motion to award the bid for 2019-2020 season snow and ice removal to Oz Properties as submitted.
And I'll second the motion. Erica, if you wouldn't.
Certainly. We received one bid, although it was qualified this time, so that's good, that's some progress. We certainly try. I have to say, prior to this meeting, I received a few emails and phone calls from a few managers I know that wanted to know what I was doing and what we had changed this year to give us another shot, so everybody's in the mix. The contractor that we have that submitted their bid, they increased their costs a bit from last year, about $5 on each item per hour, which overall is about 18% more versus last year. So we are, something we need to really look at. So they're, yes, on all the estimated services, it's 18% overall for the contract, the estimated hours. So.
All right, any comment from the audience? Brian?
I'm not aware of that.
What did we change in the contract that we at least got a bid this time? I know there was many discussions of different things that could be done, I think, the
Right.
last meeting.
It was the bid bond requirements.
Okay,
We removed them.
we got one bid.
Mm-hmm.
Did we get any teasers of interest from anybody else?
No.
Maybe we need to try something, adding, adjusting something
I don't
else
know.
next year.
I
At least
know.
we got one, yay.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
agree. Sure.
Anyone else? I'll take a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No position would help.
Next is certified township minimum municipal obligation for police pension plan for 2020 for Pennsylvania municipal retirement system.
I make the motion to authorize the 2020 minimum municipal obligation, MMO, of the amount of $49,734.02 for the West Vincent Township Police Pension Plan.
And I'll second that motion.
All right, very good. Before the board this evening is our MMO obligation for 2020. The obligation as it came in, as stated, was $49,734. It is very close to last year, so our actuarial analysis is pretty much staying the same for the past few years. And so we'll use this calculation in our budget figures. We'll receive our state aid soon, and then we'll calculate out, we'll take the police pension for 2019, and then we'll be before you regarding the non-uniform pension plan as well, once we receive that state aid.
Is this pension plan open for additional funding?
Sure.
Is the township in a position to fund it further?
We could certainly discuss that,
Okay, so discussion for another time.
certainly.
Having been in the business
Mm-hmm.
and watching other municipalities and businesses basically go bankrupt
Mm-hmm.
because, these costs just escalated in years where they were running a little lean and they had more people going into retirement. So it's always good to have a little bit of a buffer. Doesn't have to be much, and you don't want to impact your finances of the township or the borough, but that's certainly a smart business practice. Brian?
I understand where you're going, and you're absolutely true. There's a lot of unfunded liabilities on pension plans. And if I remember right, the state has some real big issues about that. But besides just having a buffer, there's also what the assumptions are in the actuarial plan on the rate of return. And if we're going to have a discussion about having a buffer on it, I think it should include what the assumptions are, the basis for, the value we come up with.
Yeah.
Because if we're expecting 10% of rate of return, it ain't going to be happening. So just something to include in the discussion. Thank you.
So this number in the worksheet is calculated actuarially based on like age of our employees or
Yes.
something like that? Okay, so the way this reads now, we're paying about 8% of payroll. That's what this comes out to. And then employee contributions, 5% of payroll.
Right.
The way it is now. And then that would, if everybody was 65, then that number would, I assume, go up.
Correct. Yep,
Depending on our pension balance.
sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the calculation of the actuarial, the percentage number, the PMRS, the total
Right.
normal cost, do we get a worksheet for that?
I have asked for that before. And they use a lot of different numbers to come up with that, but it's basically your, previous year data and just like you said, the demographic statistics of your workforce added to that.
If we have this
So,
discussion, we would want to know what
agreed.
that's going
Oh,
to be.
absolutely. Anyone else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next order of business is the Kimmerton Hunt Club request for parking access at Greenco Ed Township Park.
I make the motion to authorize access for parking to the Kimberton Hunt Club on the first and third Saturday for the months of September 2019 through March 2020.
And I'll second the motion. Go ahead.
Sure, if I may, I wanted to follow up to clarify for the Kimberton Hunt where they could park their trailers, and they can park them in the, I'm gonna call it the public parking lot, actually to the left as you're coming up the driveway, as opposed to where they were parking on the right due to the demolition, fencing, et cetera. And they're completely fine with that. And all they want is access. They don't want to use the actual township park for their activities, just for access.
Any comment from the audience? Seeing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Last on the agenda, appoint a member to the Park and Recreation Commission for the term set to expire 12/31/20.
I make a motion to appoint Belle Holderness to the Park and Rec Commission for the remainder of the term to expire December 31, 2020.
And I'll second the motion. Any comment from the audience? Brian?
It's great to have some youth showing up on the township committees.
Hopefully he didn't embarrass you by that.
She was out there as part of the trail building crew.
Yep,
I'm impressed. It's a good thing.
absolutely. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Welcome. Welcome.
Get bored.
Public comment, non-agenda items. John, please.
I know this was on the agenda, but I was looking at the treasurer's report, which I don't guess was available before today or before this meeting. One of the things that happened recently is we've gone to comparing this year to last year on the front page. And I would sort of think it'd be more appropriate to compare this year's activity to this year's budget, which got passed and we spent a lot of time on. And to note here too, which, one of the things I've commented before privately is that if you're gonna have revenue and expenses, you should have a net at the bottom. That'd be one comment. Another comment, our revenue is $4 million. Our expenses are $2.3 million. They seem to be way out of line. It would be maybe appropriate to have some more comment on that than comparing it to last year when there's an item of $1 million down here for open space. Things change so much from year to year. You sort of have to explain last year to get to the difference this year, and you've never explained the difference between this year and the budget. And the certain things that make that so, that we spent 50% of our revenue so far, which seems to be way out of line.
So I don't see where that could be done in a spreadsheet. Like,
What?
I don't see where that could be done in a spreadsheet, so that would have to be a commentary at the end. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm just, you have, on this
I
treasurer's
understand,
report,
yeah, I follow you perfectly, go ahead.
it's, I don't know where you're going with the spreadsheet. On the spreadsheet gets
Well, it's-
published, it is the budget,
Yeah,
nothing from last year.
right.
This is the only place last year appears. Even on the back page, where they have actuals, it's all compares to the budget. Here, month, year, day, everything goes to budget, except for this front page, which talks about last year.
Would you want another column in that page? Is
I
that-
would drop last year altogether. I mean, unless somebody prefers that last year, for some reason, I don't understand.
Yeah, it could be,
It's
funds by,
it's always interesting to say, well, last year we earned this much, or spent this much, or had this much surplus or deficit, et cetera. But we did a budget and it doesn't show up here. And it gets to be sort of way out of line, in my opinion. having spent 50% of our money, are we gonna wind up at the end of the year with that? At the rate we're going, we're in 7 months out of 12. And it's sort of a bad, well, it's an out of line trend or path we're on. And, I mean, there's some very explainable, but anyway, that's a comment.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Artie?
Bill, please come up. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
All right. This question's for Eric, I guess. About 3 meetings ago, you said that the township's going to expand the road crew. Has that happened yet, or?
No, it is not. We're still going through the process of reviewing applicants.
Okay. Now, is that for 1, 2 applicants, or how
Just
many?
one.
Just one? All right, fine, thank you.
Sure.
Bill?
All right, well, I just wanted to put out to everybody that part of what I'm doing is I've very much taken on the Fall Festival this year. We're gonna have it at the new Brinco at Park. And part of that is I am looking desperately for volunteers. Volunteers to run tables, but very much we're having a haunted trail. So I'm looking for volunteers to dress up, jump out and scare people, all of that. But if you're interested in volunteering of any kind, whether setup, cleanup during the event, please let me know, and if you know anybody else that would. Thank you.
What's the date?
26.
October 26th?
26th, yes.
Thank you, Bill. Anyone else? Just in closing, congratulations to McGowan's for being accepted into the agricultural security area. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, I was entertaining yours.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you all for coming out.
Recover? Get around and help me.
I got 1 foot out of
I tried. I will get it to you, either tomorrow or later this week. To get everything together. Okay, sounds good.
Chris, I don't know if you've ever actually.
being better than both feet.
It's funny how that drops off so quickly.
Let me sign.
So that's why I'm on the other track. So,
I would think there's one road you can go to.
we're using our state drive. No, we're doing the subdivision, we need to do that. The bridge and all that. That's part of it.
And it's working.